You can't close yourself off to the new experiences. Every step, even the uncomfortable ones, is preparing you for something bigger. Welcome, Mike here, Golden State Picker, back with another video. It's Monday, so that means it's Motivational Monday. We're going to give you a video today, hopefully to take 1 or 2 points from some of my videos, and hopefully it will inspire somebody to make their week better, their day better, whatever, to become better at reselling. So if you're new, I'm Mike. I'm out of San Jose, California, full-time reseller on eBay and Amazon. Trying to make my retirement better. That's what I'm doing around here. That's how I choose to do reselling. Many of you are part-time, full-time, a lot of different ways to do this and make some extra money, especially with everything being so expensive. So that's what this video is about. On Wednesday and Saturday, I do what I found and what I sold videos, so check those out. If you like my videos, hit the subscribe, like, and the bell notification. That's all we ask. We don't sell you anything. We just give you my life experience of being a reseller for the past 7 full years. All right, let's get into it. You know, this one I'm entitling about experiences. We'll talk about it a little bit further as we go along. Welcome all experiences. You never know which one is going to turn everything on. You hear me talk about that kind of stuff over and over. We have to be curious, right? If we're not curious in our life, you're not going to grow or expand. Life or business doesn't always give us clear signs. The moment that changes everything rarely looks like a big moment at first. Sometimes it's a conversation, a chance meeting, a failed attempt, or a decision you almost didn't make. But one experience, one moment can shift your entire life. That's why we're talking about being curious, because we just don't know. Take on everything that you can. Try to find out where that one thing is that's going to turn the light switch on. You just never know, and you've got to be curious in order to do that. We've got to focus on the people around us, good people, networking, all of that. That's why you can't close yourself off to the new experiences. Every step, even the uncomfortable ones, is preparing you for something bigger. The job you hated might teach you discipline. The failure you were embarrassed by might give you the skill no one can compete with. The person you met by coincidence might open a door you didn't even know existed. And that's me. I had one of those with a very young person, about a 20-year-old person. 21-year-old guy. I think he was about 21. And he opened me to expanding my horizons. And how did he do that? He turned me on to my bin of books. Yes, he had told me, you got to come with me. I think you can use this. This might be for you. And here I am when it comes to the bin of books, some 5.5 years later, still doing it. And I owe a lot to this person. And I tell this person every single time I see it. So I opened my curiosity. I had a new experience, and then I ran with it. There will come a day when you look back and realize the only thing that ever truly held you back was the fear, period. Fear of being embarrassed, fear of losing money, fear of standing alone. But ask yourself this: how many of the things that you were afraid of eventually happened? That's a good one, right? How many? How many of those things that you feared really happened? Not a lot of them. Some, but we spend so much time worrying over and over about things that really aren't going to happen, right? We worry about that too much. Most of the time, the fear was bigger than the reality. If you never take risk, you will never reach a stage in life that's going to make you happy, right? It's just going to be filled with regret. So if you never take the step, you're never going to know. I can guarantee you that, right? Not because you failed, not because you never tried, you didn't stretch, you didn't grow, you played life small just to stay comfortable. And right now, staying comfortable isn't so great, as everything around us is costing more. We have to be able to beat the overall long-term effects of inflation, of growing and not growing, stagnating, you're going to fall behind. So we have to find ways to beat inflation, beat the system long term is what I'm getting at. So set a vision that forces you to become more. Don't set your vision so low that you don't grow into it. Stretch yourself, push yourself, grow. Remember, I always talk about goals versus vision. Goals, when you hit them, you tend to stop. How many times you lose 20 pounds? I did it. I stepped on the scale. I lost 20 pounds. But then you go back and you gain the weight back and maybe even more. What you need is the vision, or you need to change your overall diet so it's easy to maintain and lose weight, not to just hit goals. We want to hit a long-term plan. We want to change everything. So that's why we call it a vision. Look at this. This is interesting. I looked this up. Look at the world's wealthiest people. 75% are business owners. 15% are investors. 7% inherited their wealth. 3% are entertainers, athletes, or celebrities. We're talking about wealthiest people, okay? It doesn't mean billionaire, millionaire, whatever, just wealthiest people. But here's the key. And 0% are employees forever, okay? We're talking about forever. There are employees within some of these companies, some of these major internet and other companies that basically got stock options and they became wealthy that way, okay? And yes, they were employees, and maybe they've taken that money and built another company and so forth and so on. But it's guaranteed 0% are employees forever. I'm just laying it out here, okay? That's why the odds are stacked against you so much, because you need to be a business owner. That's where the biggest amount of wealth, 75%, are business owners. The system was never built for you to win. You were taught to memorize facts, and you never used. We're talking about high school, right? I mean, I went through high school and a lot of stuff I just didn't want. And I'm lucky. I was not focused on another area, being a business person, and I just didn't want to be, just read the formula, that kind of thing. I wanted to be creative and curious and grow my business that way is what I'm talking about. Raise your hand, wait your turn, follow instructions, then get a job, work 40 hours a week, pay taxes, and maybe retire at age 67, right? Interesting. That's not a life, that's a script. Think about that. That's a script. That's what they tell you. I'm just giving you my perspective. They say, hey, go to work for somebody 40 years, and then boom, hopefully you can retire. And nowadays with no pensions and all that stuff, you better be creating some wealth besides that with no major pensions to fall back on. There are 401ks, but they are not pensions. They are not as good as like my wife's pension, for example. What's key there? She got her health care for life. That's not going to be there, I don't think, for a lot of people at age 60. So we've got to focus on increasing the potential to grow our wealth. And most people never question it because they're too exhausted from living it, too exhausted from living the script. We need to get away from the script and learn to live a little bit more. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. You realize freedom was never going to be handed to you. It has to be built, okay? The system was never designed to help you. It was designed to use you. So we got to get outside the system and create build our own system, our own process that I always talk about, right? So start working on the things no one can steal from you. Very good. This one's cool. Work on your skills. Work on your knowledge. Work on your mindset. Work on your work ethic. All of these things. People can take your money. They can take your job, they can take your things, but they can never take what you built within. So if you build something, they can never really take that from you. No, that's what you built, right? You're working for somebody else and you're helping them build what they want. You need to learn maybe how to build what you want. That is the real wealth, basically, is what I'm getting at here. it's your freedom, and that is where your future starts, right? Is with your freedom. I can't explain to you how over the years, the one thing that I think for me has been the overall freedom to make decisions myself. Yeah, you're going to fail. I failed many times, but I had the freedom to do what I wanted. And now I feel like I have even more freedom as I've learned that I had that retail furniture store for 30 years and built that. I had freedom, but I really never had the true freedom. I would go on vacation and the store would be open, but now I have a different type of freedom where I'm not so much reliant on the doors being open, employees and all that kind of stuff. So for me, this is what we're talking about with reselling. That's what's my freedom, is that, right? So basically, in closing, take the risk now or live the regret later. The choice has always been yours. You get to choose. That's the bottom line. And that's what I'm trying to help you here with, is trying to give you some kind of inspiration. Yeah, it is difficult to step out sometimes, but it's going to be a lot harder if you don't, and you get down the road and you are going to regret it. And a lot of people regret a lot of things. Everybody does. Everybody has some sort of regret later in life. I just want to minimize those regrets. And there's many days that I struggle. It happens. This last 3 months has been very difficult for me. Personal issues with my father-in-law passing, etc. That's been tricky. But guess what? I'm got to forge ahead. I put my faith in Jesus Christ, and that helps me tremendously. And it gives me comfort. But I still got to go out there every day and deal with the real world. And I'm very, very pleased that I've done what I've done. I'm not an ultra millionaire or anything like that, but I have a little bit more control in my life. So there you go. That is today's video. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe, the like, and the bell notification. That's the only thing I ever ask. Just that maybe you watch a few videos and watch as maybe I get better, I hope. That's one thing I'm always trying. I'm trying to figure out how to get better so that I can communicate things. I have so much up here that I'm trying to communicate it to everybody. And sometimes it gets a little mumble jumbled, but you know what? I'm doing it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm gonna fail here and there, but for the most part, I give a good vibe, I hope. All right, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.